In the sprawling Persian Empire, under the rule of the mighty king Ahasuerus, lived a young Jewish woman of remarkable beauty and grace named Esther. Orphaned at a young age, she was lovingly raised by her cousin, Mordecai, who cherished her as his own daughter. They lived a humble life, their faith a quiet cornerstone of their existence, in a land of many gods and cultures. Esther's journey, from an unknown orphan to a queen, would become a legendary tale of courage, faith, and providence, shaping the destiny of an entire nation. The story begins in the opulent halls of the royal palace, where King Ahasuerus hosted a magnificent months-long banquet to display the vast riches of his kingdom. In a moment of drunken pride, he summoned his queen, Vashti, to appear before his guests and display her beauty. When she defied his command, a furious King Ahasuerus, advised by his counselors, swiftly deposed her, stripping her of her royal title. This royal decree created a vacancy on the throne, prompting a search for a new queen. A proclamation was sent throughout the 127 provinces of the empire, gathering the most beautiful young virgins to the palace. Among them was Esther, whose striking beauty caught the eye of the king's officials. Following Mordecai's wise counsel, Esther concealed her Jewish heritage upon entering the palace. She knew that revealing her identity in this foreign court could be perilous. Placed under the care of the king's eunuch, Haggai, Esther's gentle demeanor and grace quickly won her favor and special treatment. When her turn came to be presented to the king, Ahasuerus was utterly captivated. He saw in her not just breathtaking beauty, but an inner poise and elegance that outshone all the other women. Without hesitation, he placed the royal crown upon her head and declared Esther the new queen of Persia, celebrating the occasion with a grand feast in her honor. Meanwhile, a man named Haman, an Agagite, rose through the ranks of the court, becoming the king's most trusted and powerful advisor. Puffed up with arrogance, Haman demanded that all royal officials bow down to him in reverence. Mordecai, steadfast in his faith, refused to bow to any man, reserving such worship for God alone. This public defiance filled Haman with a seething rage. His hatred for Mordecai grew into a monstrous genocidal plot. He cunningly convinced King Ahasuerus that a certain scattered people within the empire followed their own laws and posed a threat to the kingdom. Blindly trusting his advisor, the king granted Haman his signet ring, authorizing a decree to annihilate all Jewish people, men, women, and children, on a single designated day. When Mordecai learned of the terrible decree, he tore his clothes and mourned publicly in sackcloth and ashes. He sent word to Queen Esther, revealing the plot and urging her to go before the king to plead for the lives of her people. Esther was terrified. Persian law was absolute. Anyone who approached the king in his inner court without being summoned would be put to death unless the king extended his golden scepter. Yet, Mordecai's words resonated deeply. Who knows but that you have come to your royal position for such a time as this? Understanding the weight of her destiny, Esther made a courageous decision. She asked Mordecai to gather all the Jews in the city to fast and pray for her for 3 days, as she and her maids would do the same. She resolved to risk her life, declaring, "If I perish, I perish." After 3 days of fasting and prayer, Esther dressed in her finest royal robes and stood in the inner court of the king's palace. When King Ahasuerus saw her, he was moved by her beauty and courage. He extended the golden scepter, a sign of mercy, sparing her life. He asked what she desired, promising to grant it, even up to half his kingdom. Instead of making her request immediately, Esther wisely invited the king and Haman to a banquet she had prepared. At the banquet, she again deferred her request, inviting them both to a second banquet the next day. It was there, at the second feast, that Esther finally revealed her true identity. She bravely exposed Haman's wicked scheme, declaring, The adversary and enemy is this wicked Haman. The king's favor turned to fury. Upon discovering that Haman had plotted to destroy the people of his beloved queen, he was enraged. In a swift turn of justice, King Ahasuerus ordered Haman to be executed on the very gallows he had built for Mordecai. Following this, the king issued a new decree, empowering the Jewish people to arm themselves and defend their lives against any who would attack them. On the day originally set for their destruction, they were saved from annihilation. Esther's faith, bravery, and strategic wisdom had turned a day of sorrow into a time of celebration. She is remembered forever as a hero who, through great personal risk and profound faith, saved her people from the brink of extinction. Please subscribe, like, share, and follow for more videos.